shall measure the heat and violence of a poet's heart when caught and tangled in a woman's body. It was the late, great English author Virginia Woolf who wrote these words. She also wrote that it is necessary for a woman who seeks catharsis and healing through the literary arts that she should have a room of her own, a room wherein she can create, explore, evolve, but most importantly, a safe place, both privately and publicly, so that she can express the most intimate nuances that comprise her particular and universal story of womanhood. Good old Virginia also said that to get to any kind of good writing, a female writer must kill the angel in the house. For to slay this two-dimensional, antiquated symbol of woman was to truly free oneself, to allow the collective floodgates to come roaring down so that the queer voice, the feminist voice, the voice of the other, the slam poet's voice, the subversive voice, and all those who speak in the language of the beauty way may harmonize their song of poetry. For most of history, anonymous has been synonymous with a woman. As a writer myself, a woman of color, an educator, a mother, a wife, a daughter, a sister, a survivor of domestic violence, I can contest that this is the supreme challenge that female artisans face. Systematic oppression and censorship, and yes, even dominant familial and cultural influences work to silence the voice of the woman, to somehow curb the real issues surrounding all womanhood until her story snaps beneath the conformity of it all. Poetry is a vessel for empowerment. The spoken and written poem is la palabra, the word, and the word is truly a woman. It was at 6:15 a.m. when the hospital still slept, save for the squeaking shoes of the white-heeled nurses, the chalk-white mistresses of those halls. Dawn had scraped its underbelly across the sky, snapped the air open like an egg. The yolk of the sun tinged blood-spattered pink. You were dying all night. I gasped, and you gasped the hours away, but in the end, it was you dead and me still alive and staring. I watched your silver hair yellow and the nuances of your skin decay in that instant of death. Watched your five-fingered flower of a hand, how it had closed and clenched. Closed and clenched. Your passing was not unexpected. We were old, and it was your time. At 6:22 a.m., the first fleet of doctors and nurses entered the room with the usual quiet that is the hearse that accompanies death. At 6:23 a.m., they flipped the bleeping switches. At 6:24 a.m., they slipped the needles from your closed veins. By 6:30, they led me through the door, and I found myself alone. I held on to my handbag as if it were an anchor, an old woman busy with her sadness. It was then that I remembered your navy blue bathing suit. Your waist was so slender, and the water had slipped from your waistline. That day, your hair smelled of salt and sea and the distinct perfection that was you. It was 1943, and I was 19 years, 11 months, and 25 days shy of my 20th birthday. You always laughed and said you were long in the tooth and 6 years my senior. But we both knew that it was not our age difference that forced us to keep a comfortable distance in public, to hide our entwined fingers beneath the beach blanket, sand pebbles sleeping between our compressed palms. It was the sameness of our silhouette, our mouths that fed each other the language of bleeding, our shared cosmetics, the secret of the pubis and all the mysteries unlocked when rubbed together. It was the way we combed each other's hair, washed our feet, me taking hold of your delicate ankle and with a wet cloth swabbing your impeccable row of toes. We were roommates. We were childless spinsters. We were condemned by God, and then we passed into something else uncharted, something else to be regarded, tongue-lashed and branded dykes by our neighbors. We held fast for 68 years, indefinable, two Helens who would abandon their Troy, left the men to squabble over their petty wars, and now, at 7 o'clock on a Friday morning, the world awakens to sip at their mugs of strong coffee. The men wrangle their necks with ties. The women screw on their faces. We were not quite unrequited love, only unacknowledged. The word wives, a foreign pebble on the world's tongue. You have been 15 minutes dead. And the doctors surround me with their clipboards and questions and paperwork. Are you kin, they ask. Sisterhood, are you kin? Yes, I say. One last truthful lie, my pet. Yes, we are kin. Gracias. The next poem I'm going to perform is in the vein of confessionalism. It is the first language that I speak when I create my own poetry. Not always easy to write, not always easy to share, and certainly not always easy to hear, but it is transformative, and it is part of the healing way. The night permeates like a blood orchid, bursting with the smell of wet caliche through my open bedroom window. One lamp is lit, the color of dusk. Curled like a fist around my cigarette, I am stuck in the knuckle of my thoughts. Late nights like this urge me to push out a poem. A fat candle burns at 3 wicks, the scent of midnight pomegranates. It is anything but red in here. In my cotton panties, I sit and sweat into the pillow, hair wet down my backbone, slick as a knife. Motionless still, I do not pick up my pen. Instead, I pinch out the memory of one afternoon I kicked ball with the boys before the blood came. My scissor legs were as ashy as the rest, my scabs half-eaten. Our eager yells bounced from the blacktop into the warm, baked air, and the trees splintered the sunlight like long fingers against my sweaty forehead. Inside the darkness of our house, my father sits. A television blinks like a blue cyclops and pours static into his ear. He is a chunk of meat frozen to his chair, and Mama is somewhere else. I kick that ball all day long as if it were the last time I'd ever kick a ball. Arms cinnamon dark, body fast, stealth, slipping in and around the grasp of all them boys. And when the sun boiled its last cough over our neighborhood, the streetlights burst like marigolds, brilliant, bright light against a gray canopy. Daddy hollered at me, "Hey, come in. Stop messing with all them boys." And the screen door slammed behind me like a swat across my bottom before the blood came, and there were pomegranates in my dream, a fist-shaped bruise beneath my left eye, a bowl full of stars, a gift from Daddy while I slept in my bed. Mama offered up her finest eyeshadow so both sides of my face would match. "Ain't you pretty," Mama said. "Ain't you?" No, I never wrote that poem. Some poems are best left to rattle inside the head, like the time she burst from me as a seed does. With a pair of wilted flowers for hands, I held her. And as the blood still ran down my thighs in shooting star color, I wondered if all mothers are meant to be martyrs, like the time I broke all the glassware in the house. Bits of porcelain clung to his hair like snow. The night I ran her daddy off, I swear to you. All those razor blades winked at me from the lopsided face of my medicine cabinet, always messing with them boys, pushing the tongue against the teeth, running my fingers across a 3-wick flame, always never writing down my poetry, like this one, like Mama's laundry, like clean white linen, like the idea of love.